Welcome into our final first round playoff prediction. We have the ugliest game of the board, the biggest spread of the board, maybe a good betting opportunity, a game that I really liked when this line came out. Starting to second guess myself. I'm going to try to remind myself why I'm on this one team and not overthink it. I think that's the biggest goal for this is to not overthink it. But we do have a first round matchup. This is Oregon against JMU. Oregon is a 20 and a half, 21 point favor in this game. It's kind of bouncing around that key number of 21. Over under is 47 and a half points. Good God. I mean, I'm seeing people taking JMU, and I knew this was coming, and I have to keep reminding myself that people are always going to take the dog that has a lot to prove. Would be a really fun story if they go out and compete and potentially upset Oregon, which there's no chance in hell they're upsetting them. But I knew this was coming, so I got to stop second guessing myself. I do have a couple stats I want to bring up here, just in similar situations where you have a very well known, very good power forward team against a undefeated or close like JMU is with one loss. Group of five team that has kind of dominated. And I just want to bring up a couple games just to remind myself what happens in these scenarios. First of all, we have an Oregon team that was in a very similar situation in 2024. Well, technically the 2023 season. This was the Fiesta Bowl where Oregon played undefeated Liberty, 12-0 Liberty. Liberty was the winner of the Sun Belt, same conference JMU is from. This is a game where we are back in the four-team playoff. So Oregon did not make the playoffs, but this is a New Year's Six Bowl. So again, a game that doesn't really mean anything to Oregon. Like if they lose, which they weren't going to, but who cares? They probably had some opt-outs. It's not like a playoff game where they need to win. And they won that game 45-6. Actually, Liberty scored the first 6 points of that game, and Oregon scored 45 consecutive points and shut them out and embarrassed them. And then the committee was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't schedule these games anymore. So there's one example. I have a couple examples from last year's playoff game. Obviously, we don't have a team the caliber of JMU, but we had an SMU team who was in the ACC that somehow squeaked in there, and they played Penn State in the first round. Obviously, Penn State making it to the semifinals there, losing to Notre Dame. But Penn State won that game 38-10. That spread was 8.5. So they won by 28, easily covered the 8.5 points. Penn State then went on to play Boise State, who actually got the first round bye. Obviously, Boise State from the Mountain West. I think the American and Mountain West are some of the best group of five conferences out there. Much better competition than the Sun Belt. That spread was 10.5. Penn State won that game 31-14. So easily covering the spread once again. And then again, a couple just not quite similar situations, but back in the four-team college football playoff, we had that Cincinnati team back when they were before they were in the Big 12. They were also, I believe, the American back then. They face off against Alabama in 2022 or 2021, 2022. Alabama won that game 27-6. That spread was 13.5, winning that game easily. And then just like a kind of a similar situation, I don't want to bring your team into this, but just back in the four-team college football playoff, a Michigan State team that, battled in the Big Ten, making it into the Big Ten championship game, winning that game, getting a playoff berth, losing to Alabama 38-0. You could also bring up, if you wanted to, Michigan that one year when they played Georgia, got absolutely spanked. So we're seeing a very similar situation where, like the NFL, you've said this before, where the cream just rises to the top. In these life and death situations where we have playoff games, the better team always comes out. I guarantee you there was money on SMU. I guarantee you there was money on Boise State. I guarantee you there was money back in 2023 on Liberty. And I just, like I said, I don't think we can trust the money here. I know people are on JMU. It's making me not like Oregon as much, but I just got to trust it. I think Oregon is going to wipe the floor with them. Spreads 3 touchdowns, sure, take it. If you want to get safe, take the 20.5, go ahead. If you want to spread it up or tease it up to 31, 30.5, 33.5, 36.5. I mean, I honestly just can't really see JMU battling in this game. Add to the fact they're traveling 3,000 miles, going to Oregon. Oregon's obviously at home. Add to the fact that JMU's only game against a Power 4 team was that Louisville team where people are like, oh, they only lost to 14. Louisville's not good. I think Louisville upset Miami, but besides that, I mean, the ACC was ass. Louisville was, it didn't take much to make it to the ACC championship game, as we saw when Duke won, and Louisville wasn't even in contention for that. And yeah, JMU kind of got bullied in that game, 28-14. So Oregon's much better than Louisville. Oregon's had their struggles this year in bad situations. Obviously, they lose to Indiana at home. That was a bad loss, but it turns out Indiana might be the best team in the country. Had a very shaky win at Wisconsin, but again, a bad scheduling spot. Um, and then they have some just huge blowout wins, beating Oklahoma State 69-0. I'm sorry, I'm talking quite a bit here. I'm just trying to get some facts and trying to reassure myself to take Oregon. So I'll send it to you. I think Oregon rolls. I'm really trying not to second guess it. I know it's probably pretty obvious that they're going to roll, but just these trusted bettors that I found Snag and JMU shouldn't affect me, but it kind of is. But give me Oregon. I think they win big.
Yeah, don't come up short on Oklahoma State. They did have 3 points in that game. 69-3.
69-3. Okay.
Yeah, no shutout for yes. So they were competing. But yeah, okay. I have a lot to say in rebuttal to what you have to say here. First of all, forgot those spreads were so low last year with SMU and oh my god. Wow. I wish I would have played. I played both of them, but man, I wish I would have played bigger on those because wow, 8.5 points for Penn State over SMU. Easy. So yeah, obviously we're getting a much bigger spread here this year, but SMU and Boise State, like you mentioned, way better than JMU, way bigger conference than JMU. Yeah, honestly, so yeah, I'm with you. I like Oregon in this game. I think Oregon rolls. Also, just a quick have to say, there are 20 and a halves and 21 and a halves floating around, and even 21s. If this game lands 21, nobody should lose. If you like JMU, you got to go find that 21 and a half. If you like Oregon, you got to go get 20 and a half if you like Oregon, 21 and a half if you like JMU. No one should be losing if this game lands 21. So, if you want to bet this game, just make sure you pick the right, go find the book that has the right line for you because you don't want to be betting 21 and a half with Oregon. This game lands 21. You could have won if you just had a different account. So, just have to quick say that, but yeah, I don't think it's going to land on 21. I think your alt spread of 36.5, I think is how high you got there. Probably hits. I think they win this game similarly to that Oklahoma State game. I mean, I seriously think Oregon gets up in the 60s. I think JMU might get 10, 13, maybe. But Oregon, they will be able to do whatever they want to this JMU team. Obviously, everyone knows they're better. Let's just put a number to it. Strength of schedule for Oregon, they ranked 16th. Toughest strength of schedule. JMU almost down at the very bottom here, 121st out of 136. They didn't play anybody. Yes, they had a good team. Also, like you said, I think public it's hard to get a read here. I know a lot of people probably think Oregon's going to run over them, but I could also see public coming in on JMU a little bit later. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. In my head, it does, but we just saw JMU be pretty decent in basketball 2 years ago. They were one of those sexy 12 seeds. I think got a win in the first round of the tournament, or maybe played tough. I can't really remember, but maybe people are going to resonate like with JMU, and maybe they recognize the logo now. And also, public a lot of times I've kind of come to notice. I think they like to go for a big score and just to say they were right once in their life, rather than like actually thinking JMU is going to win. So people might just bet JMU just to say, hey, if they end up making or pulling the upset, I was on them, and I can kind of say that for the rest of my life. So I think public kind of likes that. Not public probably doesn't even know JMU that well, where Tulane is a little bit more of a school that people know about. So I don't know if maybe that's keeping the number at bay here. Also, I know the weather is going to be a little bit rocky there in Oregon, which last time we saw bad weather for Oregon, they beat Iowa 18-16. It was a low scoring, ugly game, but that's Iowa. That's a team that likes to kind of muddy things up. Very good defensive team. Game plan going into that game was
at Iowa too.
That was at Iowa. Okay. Yeah, their game plan was keep this, explosive offense of Oregon off the field and, play defensive football. So JMU's not going to be able to do that. JMU is kind of a similar style team as Oregon, and I think the weather is going to hurt them more than it hurts this Oregon team. You mentioned some of the other games in history. You mentioned the Oklahoma State game. Montana State, for those that don't know, a very good FCS team, a team that's always winning the FCS national championship, or at least, competing for it. 59-13. which I would say JMU is closer to Montana State than they are Oklahoma State. Um, even teams in their conference rivalry games, Oregon State, they blew out 41-7, blew out Minnesota 42-13, beat Northwestern 34-14, which I know that wouldn't cover the 3 touchdowns here, but Northwestern, that was on the road, far travel from Oregon, and they were actually not that bad of a team this year. So only loss was Indiana, obviously the number 1 overall team in the country. Can't even blame them for that. They've done nothing but win big against these inferior opponents. I don't see how JMU keeps this one close. So, yeah, it's the only way I could look here is laying the points with Oregon. Again, if you like Oregon, get the 20.5 when you see it. Don't settle for that 21.5, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think Oregon wins big.
Love that we're in agreement. A little too much in agreement for the first round, but like I said, me and Ethan have been doing historically well in the college football playoff. A couple things I forgot to mention. If you think this is going to be a look-alike of the Boise State upset with the hook and ladder and the Statue of Liberty beating Oklahoma back in 2007, then I think you are greatly wrong. Again, Boise State, even in 2007, was a much better team from a better conference with better wins against better teams than this JMU team is. Also, JMU's coach is leaving for UCLA, so he'll have his fair share of games against Oregon. Obviously, he is staying and coaching this game. Every player obviously is not opting out with the playoff game. But I can see him, obviously he's going to want to win, want to compete. But at the end of the day, he's got bigger and better things on the horizon, coaching a Big Ten football team. So I think he's really excited about that. And I think ultimately this team is just excited to be there. This was a team that had no shot of making the college football playoff with the rule. They were not going to be the highest ranked group of 5 school. There was no chance in hell. But with the ACC shit in the bed, these guys got a miracle to get in. These guys are ecstatic. These guys probably have never even been west of the Mississippi. Now they're playing the historical Oregon Stadium against a massive Big Ten team under the lights. It's going to be too much for them. It's going to be too much. I got to keep reminding myself it's just too much. Don't play into the narratives. Don't want to be that guy that puts $5 on the plus 20,000 money line. JMU. This isn't 2007. It's not going to happen. But yeah, please let us know what you think. This was our longest video. I think this is the game I think I feel the most confident about, but now I'm starting to second guess myself. So what do you guys got in Oregon, JMU? And let us know what you guys got in the first round of college football playoff. Make sure you do follow on over here on Better and Green. We're covering every single playoff game, every single bowl game until the playoffs and bowl season is over. And like I said, me and Ethan do have a great history of betting these games. But thank you guys, and we'll see you in our next episode for more midweek bowl games. Later, guys.
Welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top, hey. Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast, Better and Green.